Welcome back to the set of JavaScript tutorials at the tech space, and this is going to be creating variables tutorial 3, and we're going to be creating these things called variables. So basically, if you know from math, you have a variable and it's a letter, and you solve something for that letter. Sort of like that in here, and basically the same thing, but it does a little bit different. Oh, it has a little bit different style to it. So you can do that, but you can also use a variable to store any type of information. So you can use a variable to store a number or a letter, basically, which covers all types of information. So to create a variable, we have a variable a is equal to, and that's how we create a variable. So we say var, the name of the variable, and then we set it equal to something. But we don't have to set it equal to something. We can just put a semicolon, which will denote that we're going to have a variable, and it's going to be called a, and eventually I'm going to use it sometime. But instead of doing that, we're going to set a equal to 5. Now notice, when I write 5, I write a semicolon after that. And that's because in most commands in JavaScript, in almost every single command, you end it with a semicolon to tell the program that you are done with that line of code. And that's very important, so remember you have to do that with almost every single statement. And we're going to create another variable, and it's going to be called b, and we're going to set this one equal to text this time. To put text, you're just going to want to put parentheses, or not parentheses, sorry, quotes, and inside the quotes you can write any text that you want. So you can also use single quotes. I usually use double quotes, but basically we can write any text in here. So we're going to write the text space. And that's basically how we create a variable. So once we create a variable, we'll learn how to, do things with them. But basically what you need to know for this tutorial is that you can create these things called variables, and these variables can have any name. I could just name this, this, but it would be very inconvenient, obviously. But you give it a name, and the name is very important to remember. They are case sensitive, so if I have an uppercase A and a lowercase a, they're two different variables. They're not the same variable. So if I have another variable, a is equal to 5 as well, these are two different variables because it is, again, case sensitive. So just remember that. Remember that you can store strings or letters, you can store characters, but when we store characters, last thing I'm going to show you in this video is when you store a character, say I just wanted to store the letter F, I just have to use single quotes. You don't want to use double quotes. So just single quotes and then just put F. And then same thing for any other single letter. So that's the last thing that we're doing in this tutorial. The next tutorial will be going on and I'll explain how to output these variables to the screen and all types of other cool stuff that we will be going through in the rest of these tutorials. If you have any questions, if this isn't working, if you want to download Atom, or you're having issues downloading Atom, just put a comment below and I will respond to you and help you with it. But basically, I'll put the link to Atom in the description below, and it's pretty much the same as Notepad++, like I said. You just basically have to download it, and as you can see, comparing the two, they're the two of the same. Index.html is at the top, and it's the same thing, just a different interface, and I just started using Atom, so it's just something that I've been using lately. And that's basically it. So for this tutorial, just remember how variables are used and how to store information in them, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.